I know myself and there ain't no more guessing. I ain't no kidding, I'm getting more messy. Using my mind and I know it's a weapon. Already written, I know that I'm destined. Come from the soul and I'm seeing my essence. Lost in the source and there ain't no more stressing. Gotta stay focused and gotta stay present. Counting my bread and rolling my medicine. I'll never settle and honestly me, I'm just way too competitive. And I compete with myself just to better it. I don't see anyone better. It is what it is and it is if I said it. It's it done and it's done if I bet it is. I see a sucker for all these executives. Doing too much, man, it's really just effortless. He ain't a prophet, he's stuffing his pockets. Ain't living that life, I can tell that it's edited. See that they watch it, I see that they copy. Y'all getting too sloppy, y'all need to discredit it. Man, I done been through the storm, had to weather it. I got so used to this shit, it's my element. And I can never forget like an elephant. Now I just speak to your soul like a reverend. And I probably can never be president. I have so much I can no betterment. And they talk on my body, my melanin. And they looking irrelevant. And I look like a pharaoh, it's evident. Probably off for the goddess, she heaven sent. And she like how I speak with intelligence. I'm just giving my thing to who blessing it. I'm up. I know myself and there ain't no more guessing. Being it clear and I'm getting a message. Using my mind and I know it's a weapon. Already written, I know that I'm destined. Come from the soul and I'm seeing my essence. Trusting the source and there ain't no more stress. Gotta stay focused and gotta stay present. Counting my bread and I'm counting my blessings. I know myself and there ain't no more guessing. Being it clear and I'm getting a message. Using my mind and I know it's a weapon. Already written, I know that I'm destined. Come from the soul and I'm seeing my essence. Trusting the source and there ain't no more stress. Gotta stay focused and gotta stay present. Counting my bread and I'm counting my blessings.
If you claim it as yours,
it will be.
It will be. So mote it be. So mote it be. All right, y'all. Hey, how's it going? I'm Unique Divination. And I decided to pop in and get through my shadow work program that I started, right? So I'm pretty sure people are going to pop on, right, when I'm about to be whatever. But yeah, I'm Unique Divination and a mindset and manifestation coach. And I focus on personal power, motivation, manifestation techniques, and mindset, right? Changing your subconscious mind to work for you. Okay, and so one of the things that I focus on is shadow work. And if you're not familiar with what shadow work is, I'll briefly go over it. So this right here is a part of my 5-week program that I'm creating, and it's focused on shadow work, right? And shadow is basically, if I want to keep it simple, just attributes that we have. We have two sides, you know, we have a side that we show to the public, and then we have a shadow side. We have a sun side and we have a shadow side. We have a light attribute and we have a dark attribute, right? And, you know, a lot of people think that there are always negative things in your shadow, but there can be positive things in your shadow as well. You know, whatever you're afraid of, whatever you're scared to tap into, whether it be good or bad virtues or things that you want to clear up, they're in your shadow and they have to be identified, right? And so I came up with this really cool journal. It's a cool resource, very handy tool to help you bring up things that are in your shadow. And it's called 21 Questions, right? And so back to what is shadow, we talked about that. So the 4 stages of shadow work, there's 4 stages. There's 4 processes that you have to go through in order to release things that are in your shadow, right? And so the first stage is denial, okay? The first stage is denial. The second stage is projection. The third stage is in my notes, integration. And then lastly, the 4th stage is transmutation, right? And then with transmutation, we have a healing process, okay? So I already started the first stage, which was denial. So I'm just going to read them questions, right? And each question we had a session with. So we pulled some cards for each session, and it's going to be turned into a 5-week program, okay? So if you're interested in signing up for it, click the link in my bio, and you can purchase it now while it's being created, all right? All right, so the first stage was denial, and we have 4 questions. So we focused on who am I? Well, let me back up. The first stage is denial, and that is those aspects that we deny, disown, and reject about ourselves are usually those that we've filed away, okay? And so the 4 questions, the first one is, who am I? The second one is, what do I need to stop running away from? The third is, what is the source of my greatest fear? And the fourth was, what is the greatest lie that I keep feeding myself? So those are really interesting questions. They're simple, but when you utilize tarot cards and oracle cards, or just thinking really general and being real with yourself, you can really get deep into those questions, you know, if you really think about it. So tonight, we are going to be focusing on the second stage, which is projection. And it says we can identify it by paying attention to our judgment of other people. Okay? Our judgment of other people. And so the question that we're going to focus on tonight in this session, dealing with shadow work, is what do I hate about others? Okay? So this is really going to be interesting. If y'all want to tap in, you know, do some shadow work, hang around, I'm about to get into it. So it's the second stage, projection, and the first question is, what do I hate about others? What do I hate about others? Let me write that down. If you happen to tap in, please make sure that you share, make sure that you follow, and make sure that you add me to your close friends so you get all my notifications. You see all my posts when they come out, because you know Instagram is always messing with the algorithm, right? This is my basil, cilantro, and lemon water. All right, so let's see what cards we're gonna tap into. Yeah, the money oil, the money soap. Click the link in the bio if you want some money soap. I got a whole bunch made, y'all. Okay. Tap in. So I'm gonna be using chakra cards. Pull a chakra card, and we're focusing on what do I hate about others. Hold on, I left the card out. That's deep. Oh. Interesting. This is going to be very interesting. Oh, let that one come out. Let it out. Oh. Hey. What's up, love? I'm working on my shadow work program. Right now we're on the second stage dealing with projection, and I'm about to focus on the question, what do I hate about others? This is about to be a deep session if you want to tap in. So this is going towards my 5-week shadow work program right here. All right. This is going to be very interesting. What do I hate about others? We're tapping into our shadow, focusing on things that we got to release, work on. And we about to focus on what do we hate about others? Projection. Excuse me. Wow, this is already deep. I'm feeling this. All right. Get a feel of what's going on. These go here. Did I pull everything I wanted to pull? All right. So it's funny that this is cilantro water, basil, and lemon, by the way. But it's funny that I wanted to tap in after the waning moon to do shadow work. So I have moon cards, and basically for the waning moon cycle, it's what do you need to release? So this wasn't planned. I didn't plan on going live. I just have to do some work. I don't really care if anybody's tapped it or not, because I'm going to use these for a program anyway. So I'm just recording content, whether people are watching it or not. You know what I mean? So that's a business tip for my content creators. Like, if you go live with the intention of creating something, a program, a workshop, whatever, right? So I just decided, hey, I need to finish this. So we're under the waning moon, and we need to focus on what do we need to release, right? And what a time to release some toxic, negative energy, especially around shadow and projection, right? A lot of times we're not successful and we block our own blessings because we're envious, or we keep focusing or critiquing or analyzing somebody else instead of bringing all that energy back to us, analyzing ourselves, criticizing, not necessarily criticizing, but just keeping the focus on ourselves and stop worrying about what everybody else is doing, right? It's really easy to do. It's really hard to keep the focus, the accountability on yourself, especially when situations are not good. We like to look for somebody to blame instead of saying that we had control, even in negative situations, and what could we have done, or what can we do in the future to, change the outcome of that situation. So let me look for my little book. I'm missing something. Where's my book? If you want to get a notebook, go ahead and get one. I'm trying to look for something right now. And you know what? I'm just going to do without it. Wait a minute. Let me try to find it. Let me try to find it. I hope y'all having a good night. Yes. All right. I found it. Because I need this, because it comes with a little story. I hope everybody's having a great Friday night. I am here, working. That's what I do. right? And I still got homework I gotta do, but it's all good though, right? Because the reward is greater later. I'm out here working, trying to better myself and trying to help the community. That's why I do these for free, whether somebody watching or not. I'm giving back. If you catch it, you was meant to catch it. You was meant to catch it, you know what I mean, when it was free. So that's what's up. Alright. So again, the first stage was denial. Those were 4 questions I've already been through. The first stage, and we're currently working on the second stage. We're currently working on the second stage, and there are 5 questions in the second stage, and we're on the first one, right? Projection. We can identify it by paying attention to our judgment of other people. And the first question is, what do I hate about others? And so, it's interesting the cards that I pulled. You know, we can already get into them. And the first one that I thought was interesting was joy. Now think about this. This is shadow work we're dealing with here. These are attributes and projection. So the question is, what do I hate about others? So what is it about others being joyful that we don't like? Is it the fact that we can't create our own joy, right? Do we feel like people are too happy? Do we feel like, does that person dim our light, or particular people? You know, this card could identify some insecurities. If you are feeling some type of way because others have joy, and this is non-judgmental because it happens. I mean, sometimes I'll be like, damn, why that person's so happy or whatever. You know, it happens. We get into that sometimes, especially when we're in a low place and we don't know how to deal with our projection of others. And our projection of others and our judgments of others are really just judgments of ourselves, something that we're lacking, or we wish that we had, or we want to do. And this card represents, let's just jump and see what happens. You know, so maybe the fact that you're scared to take that leap, you know, maybe that's why you hate to see joy in others, because, you know, what does it say? Personal inquiry. What can I do to invite happiness into my life? Being present is not the same as truly experiencing something. Key ideas: a conduit for joy, detached from joy, higher purpose, profoundly impacting lives, improved health. Okay, so it's something about all those attributes pertaining to joy that we brought up that we feel like we're lacking. You know, maybe we feel like we can't be the conduit for joy. And so when we see somebody being that conduit, we're envious, we're upset, we're resentful, we're angry, and we don't like that person. And subconsciously, we want to do those things, but we feel like we don't have the ability to do them. All right, so that's pretty deep to think about, you know, and just take a step back and think about the people that you've kind of criticized or attacked a little bit because you felt like they had that joy that you really couldn't express or feel at that point in time in your life. All right, that's interesting. The next card I have is movement. So again, the question is, what do I hate about others? So, you know, are we resenting those people that are athletic, that can easily just pick up and go, are able to just kind of just move around, and doesn't take a lot of energy? You know, me, myself, depending on what the situation is, I have to like build up the energy to do things. You know, and some people that are just on a go, that can change their schedule at the last minute and just kind of go with the flow, those people bother me. Those people bother me because I don't have the flexibility. Like, it takes a lot for me to be able to do that. You know, I can sit here and admit that. So I already see that. You know, and once again, it's projecting because it's something that you lack or that you want, and you feel like you can't produce yourself. So I know that I just have to work on my mindset and understand that I can have that same energy. You know, drink water, you know, don't eat a lot of fatty foods, you know, things that's going to hold me down. I may have to do other things in real time to help me get to this spot, but I can do the same thing, and I shouldn't be envious or jealous or resentful or, you know, don't want to be around people that are just movers and flexible and on the go, you know, sporty type people. Hey, Native, how are you? So you just hopped on. This is my second stage of my shadow work program, right? And we're talking about projection, you know. Where's my phone? We're talking about projection. We can identify it by paying attention to our judgment of other people, right? And it's 5 questions in the shadow work stage. And this question that we're focusing on is, what do I hate about others? All right, so this is really interesting. You know, these cards and the perspective that we're going to take when looking at the cards that come up. So again, the card was movement, right? And so, you know, maybe feeling a little bit resentful. We don't want to be around them people that just have a lot of energy and are always on the go. And we feel like we hate it because we can't deal with the energy, or we wish that we had that type of energy, okay? So, again, it's just something to work on, but at least admitting it. You know, right now we're healing, we're admitting things that we're putting in our shadow in regards to projection and what we hate about others. If it don't apply, let it fly. You know, but I'm just going with what the cards are telling me. And I pulled a moon card just to kind of reiterate. And this represents, what do we need to release? So these are things that we definitely need to release. We need to release our judgment of others, and just to continue to focus that energy and that observation and that critiquing of ourselves, right? The more you learn about yourself, the more you'll understand other people. The more you learn about yourself, the more you'll understand other people, right? The more you become self-aware, the more successful you become. It just kind of flows like that, right? So the next thing that we're going to focus on is Goddess Guidance. And I got White Tara. And she represents sensitivity. You're becoming increasingly sensitive. Avoid harsh relationships, environments, situations, and chemicals. So remember, this is, what do I hate about others? So why would sensitivity come up? Why would sensitivity come up? As far as projection and what we don't like, what we hate about others, right? I feel like sensitivity comes up because maybe we feel like those people are punks, or they're sissies, or they're soft, or they're weak, because they're sensitive and they're emotional and they know how to express themselves. And then they can maybe cry, or they can express their emotions with a large vocabulary. Sometimes people resent that, especially if you don't have the ability and the emotional intelligence to communicate the things that you're feeling. There are so many different ranges of emotion, right? And if you don't have the capability to express that, when you come across somebody, what's up, Crystal Doctor? When you come across somebody who has the ability to express themselves and to communicate and to be in touch with themselves, it kind of throws people off a little bit. And some people don't like that. You know, some people don't like that, especially when it comes to men, right? Sometimes they're called sissies, punks, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I definitely can see how this would come up in projection and in the first question, which is, what do I hate about others? Sensitivity. You know, being sensitive does not mean that you're weak. Being sensitive means that you're tapped into other people's emotional and their energy fields, right? And that you're considerate and you're compassionate to others when you respond in the way how you connect with people, talk with people, interact with people, right? So remember that when you want to project and see somebody who you think is sensitive and you're like, ugh, you know, they're weak, they're whatever, you know, that's a projection, because maybe you feel like you can't tap in. Maybe you feel like you're weak if you were to express yourself or to learn a better vocabulary to express the emotions that you're feeling. You know what I mean? So just think about that. You know, this is getting really interesting. I already knew it was going to be interesting, but, you know, what we pulled so far. So just to kind of, the people that have came in, I'm just going to recoup real quick. I pulled joy. You know, when we talked about, you know, hating people that have joy in them because we can't pull that joy ourselves, or we don't know how to find it within ourselves. So when we see people that are full of joy, sometimes we get angry and upset, right? Next, we talked about movement. I talked about how it takes me a lot of energy to do certain things, and then I see people that can just zip, zip, zip here, there, everywhere, running circles around me with certain things. And I sometimes resent those people, you know, people that are flexible with their schedule. It takes a lot for me to be flexible, and I'm going to admit that I do resent those things because it takes a hard time for me to adjust. But nonetheless, I know that I can do it. And I just have to keep working on my mindset to know that, hey, I don't have to resent those people. I can do that if I just work. Like I said, I got a detox. I know that I can't eat heavy foods. It's going to slow me down. You know, don't have a lot of sugar. You know, there's other things that I have to do to help me be more energetic and last throughout the day and able to kind of get things or, you know, prepare myself for changes or whatever. So, and then we're caught up to speed with sensitivity, how sometimes we look at people like they're weak because they express themselves and they know how to use vocabulary to express a range of emotions that they're feeling, or they have a high emotional intelligence, you know, or they're sensitive to energy, you know, empathetic people. You know, like I said, people think that they're weak. And being sensitive does not mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that you're a punk. It doesn't mean that you're a pushover. It doesn't mean that you're a bully. It just means that you're tapped in, right? And so we don't need to resent those people. We are resenting that, or we hate that, because the question is, what do I hate about others? We're hating that sensitivity because we have a subconscious belief that we're going to be weak, or if we're vulnerable to be sensitive, that we're going to be weak, and that people are going to look at us and take advantage of us. Right? So we've got to learn kind of to shift that thought process and understand that you can be sensitive and tapped in and be strong, right? You can be sensitive and be strong, right? Next, we're going to tap into the tarot. So I've got 5 of Cups reversed, 8 of Pentacles reversed, and the Hangman. And so 5 of Cups upright is Lord of Loss and Pleasure. So reversed, you know, what do I hate about others? We hate the fact that, you know, sometimes people are able to always find the silver lining in the most negative things. And sometimes that irks people, because sometimes people, we want to be negative. Sometimes we don't want to see the silver lining. Sometimes, you know, people are just so programmed to be negative. And when we see somebody that always has hope and has faith, it's just like, God, why don't you shut up? You know, that's not reality. But there's nothing wrong with thinking positively over a situation no matter what happens, right? So think about that. What do I hate about others? Why do we hate that somebody always wants to look for the good in situations and in people, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Now, being naive is something different, but being able to have faith and believe that anything is possible with your higher self, your ancestors, your spirit guides, and your God, there's nothing wrong with that. And those people are like that for a reason. Like, I'm not going to lie. When I first got into the spiritual community on social media, like, those love and light people really irritated me. Love and light, you know what I'm saying? Those people, what's up, Rita? Those people really irritated me, you know, and I'm kind of balanced. I'm light, and I know I have to work in the dark, in the shadows. That's why I do shadow work, you know what I mean? So, you know, it took me a while to understand that everybody and everything has their purpose. And those light workers, those people that purely focus on light, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Please close my door.
So can you give me more time on my phone? Because I have 15 minutes.
Okay. I have to give him the time on his little phone, yo. Yeah, so, you know, don't get upset with those people that are just pure, or, you know, their presentation or their projection is just pure love, light, you know, that's what they're supposed to be doing. Let me give them a little bit more time. That's what they're supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? You're shining. Thank you, sweetie. Appreciate you. I'm talking about shadow work. And I'm on my second stage, and this is projection. And the first question is, what do I hate about others? You know, sometimes we project. When people make us angry, when we resent certain people, we don't want to be around certain people. We're going to focus on what the cards bring up and figure out why and what we can do about that. So I was just kind of talking about those people that always see the silver lining in things and are always happy and always, you know, just, you know, everything's always going to work out. And it's not even about being naive. It's just that's what they put out. It's light, you know, there's a balance. There's some people that are in the dark. There's some people that are balanced. And then there's some people that are light, you know, and that's okay. Everybody has their place and their purpose. The next thing here is Lord of Prudence reversed. And so this means that this is somebody who's going to critique things, analyze things, but it's reversed. So we got that carefree perspective again. So what do I hate about others? We hate the fact that other people can be so carefree in their life and just do things without care, you know, really no respect for the law, just kind of do what they want to do. In some way and somehow, they be winning. You know, they be winning. And that's something that's a projection. And it's because we can't get away with those things. Because if you're somebody like me, you know, you got to work hard. And I don't get to use any loopholes. Like, if I try to do anything, you know, it's just not a good look for me. So I just try to just get in where I fit in. You know, it's not my place to worry about what others are doing, how they're getting over, how they're maneuvering, you know, how they're getting through loopholes, how, you know, they're crooked in the presentation of themselves, but yet they seem to be successful. We don't know what their karma is. We don't know what's going on. So we really shouldn't be focusing on that. We really shouldn't be focusing on that. Learn from that. Learn to be a little carefree. Maybe there are ways for you to learn loopholes or learn how to play the game a little bit better if you would loosen up, right? But judging people, you know, like how people want to judge Trump because he didn't pay taxes, but yet these loopholes are created for successful people to use them. Like, why get mad because people are playing the game? Learn how to play the game. I feel like this card is kind of saying. Next, we have sacrifices, right? And the question is, again, what do I hate about others? Sacrifices, you know. You hate the fact that others are willing to make the sacrifices that they need to make to get where they need to go, right? And sometimes that's resentful to see people so disciplined and so strong and willed and focused on what they want to do that it makes you angry because you're not there. And number one, that's not your journey. That's not your path, right? Don't be resentful. Learn, observe. What is that person doing that's allowing them to just release anything that doesn't have any focus for what they're doing, and then they can just hone in, right? Observe, take notes. You know, you don't get jealous or envious or resent people that will sacrifice anything. Not necessarily anything, but they know what they have to sacrifice to be successful the way they want to. And we resent those people and we talk about those people, you know, but we're not in those people's shoes, you know. And again, projection, we need not be judging. We need to be taking notes and saying, well, what are they doing? You know, how is it that they're able to, you know, if you can pick that person's brain, ask them questions or, you know, kind of study things, but most certainly being upset because other people make sacrifices, you know. Sometimes those sacrifices maybe you're a part of that sacrifice. Maybe that's why you're resentful. You know, maybe people have cut you out because they've had to get more focused, right? So You know, I don't think we should take those things personal. When people are working on self-development and self-growth, we should be happy for that. Sometimes people have to step back. Even people that we're close to have to take a step back and regroup and go into themselves. Everybody has to go into themselves. So when they do it, why are you upset? Why am I upset? Why are we upset? Okay, so again, the question is, what do I hate about others? We hate that others can just sacrifice at the drop of a dime. You know, whatever is a distraction from them, they're just going to cut it. And we're angry and we're resentful because we have not reached that level of discipline yet. But we can if we turn that projection of hate into observation, into transmutation, into learning instead of, judging. Okay? What we got next? Essential oil. Myrrh. And this represents support. And the trigger statement is, I am not supported. And the true statement is, I move forward with divine grace. Take comfort and know that you are supported. Nurture your inner child and connect with the earth. And this is definitely for my loners, my introvert people who are very resentful of people that they feel like have support. I'm one of them people. I don't have a lot of people. It's like, one of those introverts that like know people but they really don't know you, right? I don't have a lot of support, and you see other people out there that have all the support, all these people around them, and sometimes you can be angry about that. But guess what? You can build your own support system, right? If you stop moving in fear, get out of your introvertedness. Online communities, you can build them. You can build an online community. You can join an online community. You can build your own support system. So there's no reason to be resentful of somebody else who has a support system. No more victim mentality. No more, oh, I don't have any friends. I used to feel like that all the time. I've been a loner my entire life. And I decided to change that. And a lot of the people that I socialize with are now across the country and all over the world, And every now and then I get to meet up with them sometimes. So it's really awesome. So friendships, communities are built really different in 2022. And, if you don't feel like you have the support, you can join a community and you can create your community. But you're going to have to move through the fear and take the action. And that's why those people that have those support systems in place have them, because they took the action. And they're not sitting there being victims. They're being social. They're connecting with people. And those people like me, introverted people, or people that feel like they're socially awkward or weird or don't fit in, we have these fears that we're not going to connect with people because there's nobody else like us. Like, there's literally how many billion people on the planet? So, once we get out of our heads and get out of this victim mentality and look at the bigger perspective, there are people like you, and online, all these different social media platforms, Bigo, Discord, Telegram, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, Twitch, and then there's more that I don't even know about. There's Kick, Snapchat, Twitter. There's so many. Trump got Truth Social. There's so many different social media platforms where you can join or create a community and find like-minded people. So let's stop hating people that have support and let's create our own support. Okay? The next two cards, I'm going to pair them together because they just need to be paired together. They are my cards. They're Urban Mystic Tarot. Hey, what's up, Hannah? If you're just now tuning in, I'm working on my shadow work program. This is the second stage. I'm working on projection. What is it about others that we hate? That is the question, right? And basically the focus is we can identify it, projection, by paying attention to our judgment of other people. and we've gone through some interesting cards. I don't know if I'm gonna leave this on a replay. I might leave this up for 24 hours on Instagram, and then I'll do a 24-hour replay in my mailing list. Because this is interesting, and these are things that we're judging other people because we're lacking, we can't create, or we don't think we have the ability to do these things that have come up. And there's been some very interesting things that have come up. So the next two cards are the Urban Mystic Tarot. And it's the Hierophant, and it's the ones I've written. 111, paying attention to your guide. So again, projection. What do I hate about others? Right? So right now, like I said, if it don't apply, let it fly. Right? But I'm just picking up from what the cards are giving me. So right now, we're envious or we're hating those people that stick to a routine. The people that are always the full moon and Mercury retrograde and you know, and this is what, paying attention to spirit guides. So sometimes we really get upset with those people that are just anal about, you know, the natal chart and this conjunct here and this is ascending here, and you know, I don't know too much of that stuff. I'm into astrology, of course, because I'm a reader, but there's a place for those people. So instead of being envious, once again, educate yourself. You know, don't get angry at the people that stay up to speed on, you know, the alignment and the conjunction and the ninth house. The ninth house is in Virgo and all of that other stuff. You know what I mean? Like, why are we taking that on them? Again, just like I said, the light workers, everybody has their place, you know. Sometimes I tap into certain pages and I'll learn from them and I can go from there. Or I decided to download an app that helps me keep track of the moon. Everybody has their place, you know. Also, the fact that some people are routine-based and ritual-based, you know. Sometimes we project and we say those people are anal or they're OCD. I know I get called OCD a lot. You know, there's just certain things that I do. But if I don't do them, I feel like I won't be successful. So let's not be resentful of people that keep routines, traditions. You know, just pay attention to the routine of things. However that may mean to you, you know, just people that stay up on certain things. I know a lot of people are irritated by me because I am big on routine, keeping up with things, reminding people of things, paying attention to things, and sometimes I'm called a goody two-shoe or I think I'm better than everybody. No, I just pay attention to a lot of things, you know. So again, it can be in different areas. Let's not hate those people. Let's appreciate those people, because if they weren't around, you may not know about certain things. You know, so instead of taking offense to it as thinking these people are know-it-alls, or, you know, those people just like to inform. They like to inform. And again, we can always learn from those things, okay? Let's see here. We've got one last card. And this is freedom. Freedom. And so I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. So I feel like this is a conjunction with joy. You know, so sometimes we resent people that have the freedom to just be them, right? We brought up the movement card. You know, there's just a lot of resentment around people that know how to create their own happiness, that have their own light. Again, we're focusing on shadow work here, projection, and the question is, what do I hate about others? Right? And we've got joy, we've got movement, we've got happiness. Why are we resentful? Why do we hate others that had the freedom to say no? You know, the freedom to take charge of their life, the freedom to make the sacrifices, you know what I mean? The freedom to kind of move and bend things and make things work for them, right? The freedom to be able to flow with anything. Like, instead of being resentful of these people and hating these attributes in people. We need to be learning how to take on these attributes, okay? I thought I had, that was the last card. I actually have archetype card. And this is the rescuer archetype. And the light attribute is provide strength and support to others in crisis. Acts out of love with no expectation of reward. Shadow attribute assumes that the rescued will reciprocate, keeps the rescued one needy. So this can be two different types of projections, right? What do I hate about others? We could hate the fact that some people just will help anybody. They will give people the shirt off their back. There are some people that will take off their shoes and give them to people, and that absolutely drives some people crazy. You know, some people feel like, no, you don't want to do that. Then we resent the people that help and expect something, you know. That is a little, you know, why would you want to help and expect something in return, you know? But I feel like most importantly, the rescuing aspect. Thank you for the badges, sweetie. Thank you for the badge, Hannah. I appreciate you. For instance, you know I'm always going to use myself as an example. My husband will stop any and anywhere to help anybody, and it drives me absolutely crazy. I swear it honestly does. Do you guys know anybody that would just literally help anybody? And, you know, one time it was to the point where he was in traffic and he literally saw somebody having a seizure. And he jumped out of the car and helped. And I'm like, we had just went to the market. It's in the middle of traffic. So I'm kind of frustrated because he has our son. And I'm like, he has to get home. Let me come back out there. But at the end of the day, if my husband didn't get out and see that man and help him, you know, that man would have possibly died. You know, so the fact that he will stop and help anybody, it's a very virtuous trait. And I can learn from that. And I feel like I'm selfish, you know, and I will admit that, you know, and I think that's very selfless of my husband to just be willing to help anybody. And I'm not saying that I won't help people. That's not what I'm getting at. You know what I mean? But I'm just getting at people that literally will be anywhere and anything happens and they're right there in the mix of it. You know, and some people resent things like that, like I said, and it really gets up under their skin. But why? You know, why does it get up under your skin? Because you're selfish. I'm selfish. That's the only thing that I could think of. We're selfish to a certain extent, you know, and that's selfless. And that's, you know, looking at that as a different perspective. My husband could have been that guy's spirit guide or that angel that day, saving his life. So take a different perspective when you see somebody or you have somebody in your close proximity, you know, y'all always out and about and they're always helping and they're always stopping to rescue somebody, to just be there to make sure that people are okay. And in this day and age, we need people like that. I mean, look at all the things that have been recorded on camera, things that have come up, all because somebody just decided to rescue, to just take on that archetype. All right. So for those of us selfish people, again, like I said, it ain't that I'm not going to, I'm going to admit, and we just being real, we talking about shadow work here. There's limits to what I'm going to help, you know, especially if it's a certain time of day, I'm tired, you know, I've got the kids, I want to go home and cook, I have homework, you know, whatever happened during the day. You know, and that's everybody. That's the general population. We just kind of are in our own bubble and we see things happen and we don't want to help because it's going to disrupt ourselves. It's going to disrupt our life, right? We being real here. We talking about shadow work. So I'm not going to say I'm not going to help, but if I'm going to help, it's going to be begrudgingly. And that's not, I'm going to be huffing and puffing like, oh, not, you know, like, you know, but my husband, he's just going to go right in, jump right in and just do what he needs to do, help whoever, whatever. And I just really, at first, it used to make me angry and inconvenient. But at the end of the day, I saw that was very virtuous, right? And I can learn from that. And so we need to learn from those people that are just willing to give the shirt off their back. Like, why do they do that? I'm not going to give the shirt off my back to somebody, but I know that my husband would. I give money to people. I don't record it, or I'll buy, homeless people food. I do things and stuff like that. But I'm just saying, like, just literally when you know that you have a choice to help, or if I help, it's going to disrupt, it's going to throw something off in my life, most of us are going to lean towards somebody else may do it. You feel me? Let's just be real about that. This is shadow work. We're talking about projection and what we hate about others. Those people that are just willing to put their life off, to inconvenience their life, to just rescue and help. We need not judge those people or be upset or hate those people, okay? So this was really interesting. This is the end of this question. I feel like I want to come back on and just do a collective reading for just releasing in general. This had to do with shadow work. So I'm going to go ahead and end this live, but I'm going to pop back on. All right, because I want to do some more cards, do some more general readings. If you're interested in getting a reading, I can do donation based if you purchase a badge. And if you're around, if I come back on live and you want a reading, let me know. Since you support it with a badge, I appreciate you, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and end this. This concludes the first question of the second stage projection, and it was, what do I hate about others? This will be available on my Instagram profile. I might let it sit over the weekend. It is Friday. I know everybody's doing things, more important things other than learning and trying to get some shadow work done. You feel me? People got lives. I'm a nerd. After I go live, I'm going to do some homework too. So it is what it is. But I'll leave this up. After I take it down, it will be available again in my mailing list. So if you're interested in joining my mailing list, click the link in the bio. And I got some money attraction. Again, I got some made, and I'm getting ready to make all of the other soaps that I used to make. The Turmeric Glow, the Bentonite, Clean Goat's Milk, and the Tea Tree Oil. I'm getting ready to make them all right this weekend too, okay? All right, so I will be back. Let me log off so I can save this and add this to the program. Talk to y'all later.